The best part of this whole goddamn thing is that he is not martyr material, so his death will mean nothing. It will activate no one. It will impact few. It's just great.
That was quite the underestimation on this woman's part. She really has no idea how far-reaching and influential Charlie Kirk was. He is like 4 people removed from the president. He didn't hold formal office, of course, but he had a very direct line to Trump himself, and he had a huge following. And it really just goes to show you, just in the responses by the left to this whole situation, how tone deaf and unaware they are as a group. And as I'm sure you've already heard, 22-year-old Tyler Robinson has been apprehended, is in police custody for the assassination of Charlie Kirk. So the investigation's moving forward. To me personally, it feels like there are plenty of other loose ends. You know, there was that guy who suddenly began cheering, like immediately after Kirk was shot, like suspiciously fast after. And then there was also that boomer who was in the crowd at the same time, who people thought originally was the shooter, who was apparently shouting at the police to shoot him. Those sorts of antics really raises the hair on the back of your neck, really makes you wonder if there was actually a bit of coordination to the whole thing. We won't engage in too much speculation on this channel about this particular topic for obvious reasons, because this is YouTube, but there are a number of suspicious posts which appear to be anticipating the event on various platforms, which is fairly unsettling. It seems that word may have gotten out in certain communities that something was going to happen before it happened. And as of the recording of this video, Tyler Robinson has so far been uncooperative with the police. I refrained from making this video for a couple of days just because a lot of people were getting him confused with this other person, Sky Valadez, and I didn't want to post anything that wasn't fully verified, so I'm not accidentally spreading misinformation or whatever. But apparently there was a photo of someone who people were saying was Tyler Robinson that was going around, and while that wasn't him, this shooting, this assassination, does seem to have trans motivations, shall we say.
With him.
Were they holding hands?
Yeah, they were. So, yeah, they drove off in his car, the Dodge Challenger.
The time you saw them, or this week?
It was about the time I saw them. So
how long ago was that?
I would say about 2 weeks ago.
And so they looked like they were a couple?
Yeah.
And he was dressed all in black?
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm. And you thought he was weird?
Yeah, I definitely, yeah.
What was weird about him?
Just the way he walked and just the way I've seen him. I've never seen really anybody dressed all in black with a mask on, and I thought that was just quite weird.
For those who've never seen the roommate, describe that person for us.
He did have freckles on his face. For the haircut, it was a weird haircut. I can't quite, it was kind of a mushroom shaped one. I would say he didn't come out much, but definitely a few other, just a little bit at a time.
There's some published reports out there that this individual, the roommate, may have been transitioning. Did that correlate with what you saw?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so he was going to have an operation to turn into a woman.
Yeah, and I think he's getting ready for that.
Sorry, in what way do you think that?
I remember them talking about a doctor's appointment. It was about 2 weeks ago, I would say.
And they were kissing?
Yeah.
Do you know, where did you see them kissing?
Just coming out. I was riding with my bike, so I didn't see the whole thing, but yeah, I saw them.
And when did you hear them talking about a doctor's appointment?
I would say about the same time that they came out, so that one time, yeah.
And where were you standing for that?
I was just riding by here.
Okay.
So,
and you were able to hear snippets of their conversation?
yeah. Yep.
But you were sure that they were a couple, but you have only seen them together once?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, random guys don't hold hands and definitely don't kiss. So, I would have tried to stop him if I knew it was him, like before. I definitely do not like the fact that he was living close to me. It was covered with police tape, a ton of police cars. We had a guy sitting up on the hill with a sniper, and SWAT trucks, and definitely a few helicopters, and a drone as well.
What was going through your mind when you stepped in?
I was like, what is going on? And I asked the police officer, I'm like, did a killing happen here? They're like, I can't tell you. And so I called my grandma, found out that the guy that shot Kirk lived right close to me. So for Charlie Kirk, I knew him over the years. Like, I didn't know him personally, but I've watched his videos before. And so
I went to school with this Tyler Robinson kid. I'll show y'all. That's him right there, Tyler Robinson. I'm not trying to like clout chase, make this shit about me, but I'm not gonna say I knew this kid really well. I didn't know him very well at all, but I definitely saw him for like 3 straight years in high school. And the best way I could describe him is just like a Reddit kid. I don't know, I feel like if you were in high school around that same time, and even probably now, like 2018, and then like, you know, those kinds of kids, but that's exactly what he was. All I'm gonna say is this is the kind of shit that happens when you spend way too much time online, and all of a sudden your beliefs are all the way this way or all the way this way, and you do some dramatic shit to please these people that are not your friends. This internet shit is seriously no joke.
So this situation is, in a lot of ways, optically speaking, a nightmare for the left, especially because there is this huge organic public reaction where tons of liberals and leftists were actually openly celebrating or justifying Charlie Kirk's death. We can get into some of that later. But as the shooter's politics came out, it's also inconvenient for this to be an example of left-wing extremist, politically motivated violence, right? Because the left has this whole narrative that they're the sort of cerebral, nonviolent, compassionate ones, and this is obviously an unacceptable behavior in a liberal democracy. Like they have to paint the right. Their worldview is shaped around painting the right as the violent ones, as the aggressors, and this is obviously an act of heinous, unprovoked aggression. So we immediately saw them pivot from this celebration to immediately trying to muddy the waters. Seemed like tons of them mobilized to just either attempt to pin this on a groyper. There was just all this sort of insane speculation that had really no basis. And they just began repeating it and promoting it, and were met with this parade of excuses. And it's really quite you can't really say it's surprising, but it is just a very grim situation, to say the least.
Reports now that the Charlie Kirk shooter was in a relationship and lived with a trans individual. This has only been reported on by conservative outlets like Fox News, so of course take it with a grain of salt, but Republicans are already running with it. So let's just hypothetically say it's true. What does that change about the story? What difference does that make? According to Fox themselves, the person has been very cooperative with law enforcement, turning over any text messages necessary, answering all the questions. So what does them being trans or living with the person have to do with the investigation? The answer is it changes nothing. But Republicans are going to use this to try to establish political beliefs or motive, or just to demonize the LGBTQ plus community. They seem to take any chance they can to do that. The reality is, we still don't know this guy's motive. We still don't know what he believed. Law enforcement hasn't spoken on any of it. So please, I ask people, regardless of your political beliefs, be patient. Wait for law enforcement to give us official information that we know for fact, not stupid right-wing outlets who are speculating, or these right-wing creators who are going to get on social media and now demonize an entire group of people because of this story.
Oh man, people on the right are just totally unnecessarily jumping to conclusions to demonize members of the alphabet community. It's not like we had messages on bullets he may have written. Well, even if we did have those, who could decipher them? Who could possibly discern his motives from a phrase like "Hey, fascist, catch"? Yeah, yeah, we totally. No one gets what he was going for here. No one knows why he did this at all. Complete mystery. And one of the reasons why this has been such a watershed moment is because people are realizing that we are beyond discourse. We are beyond national conversations that can really patch up this political divide you see here. Because on the one hand, you just have people like overtly running with a lie that and this is really to like, I think they know that the truth is eventually going to come out, but they sort of want to again soften the blow and muddy the waters of this guy being exposed as, yet another violent leftist. um these just, I guess, decentralized activists are gonna be foot soldiers for the MSM and fabricate these narratives, which the MSM will then repeat. And then this is how they're going to continue to attempt to manipulate public opinion. It's so insidious, really. And the other thing too is that I was going to say, on the other hand, the base generally that still is like ardently, actively engaged for liberal causes, like a lot of these people are just, they're psychologically shielded from recognizing this as true anyways. So they'll go through all sorts of like mental gymnastics and think it was literally anyone, like whether or not they're like wittingly doing this. Whether or not they really know they're being disingenuous. They just don't want to believe it, so they won't. But we can go ahead and take a quick look at what these people are saying and doing. And there's tons and tons and tons of video. People have actually been fired from their jobs for celebrating Charlie Kirk's death. So we can go ahead and take a quick look at some videos of how just regular leftists are responding, because people like to pretend that you have your centrists or your leftists making excuses, or your naive milquetoast Republicans who still want to believe that America can come back together again, saying that like, oh no, this is just fringe people, it's not really common. Like, no, it is common. Like, that's how dire the situation is. We had basically the ultimate, like the premier youth activist, I guess you could call him, on the right, assassinated, and then a very large portion of this country was completely fine with it.
Charlie Kirk is dead. They shot him in the neck. He's fucking dead, y'all. Everybody, they killed Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk is fucking dead, everybody. They fucking killed him. They shot him in the neck. He bled out.
I wouldn't call my video celebrating anything, but this is literally the platform that he stood on. That he was okay with some people potentially dying or being injured by gun violence, so others could have their Second Amendment rights. And it sounds like this is exactly what he wanted. Thank you so much, Charlie, for your service. And unfortunately, that means your wife is going to be raising her kids potentially alone. But at least everyone still gets access to all their guns.
I fear that people don't understand that political violence isn't just gun violence. Charlie Kirk has been politically violent since he stepped in the game. That man is anti-trans, anti-women, anti-black people, anti-immigrants, and then some. And he puts his money where his mouth is, right? He funds anti-trans organizations. He funds media outlets that push red pill bullshit specifically to young men. He's one of the top dogs when it comes to dividing people politically. He has been politically violent for 10, 15 years now. And it's weird if you hop on this app and you think you're taking some like moral high ground by telling oppressed people that they don't get to be relieved at what happened today. I'm not pushing an agenda, but I understand their emotions. And you getting on this app as like a white man or someone who doesn't fully understand what's going on and saying, oh, well, no one deserves to be hurt. Charlie's been hurting people since he stepped in the game.
This is controversial, but I'm going to say it with my whole chest, and I'm not going to apologize for it, and I'm not going to feel bad about it. I've talked about this before. I'll talk about it till I die. I was a nurse during COVID in 2020, and I witnessed and watched an entire nation deny that our vulnerable population was at risk and dying by the fucking droves. Not even just the at risk, like anybody and everybody was dying. And I watched the whole country say, not my problem, not my problem. I can't handle a mess, not my problem. So I don't feel guilty for people anymore, and I don't think that like death absolves you for anything. So when I say Charlie Kirk is dead, ha! You live a hateful life, you get a hateful ending. Point blank, period. I don't feel sorry for you. You're not getting my thoughts and prayers. You're getting my ha-has. Sorry. Oh my gosh, he got shot and killed. That dude literally is a rage baiter. You baited it, babe. Oh, but he wanted a no, he doesn't. He's protecting families. He hates women, hates families. But thoughts and prayers. Rest in peace, Angel.
Lack of emotional control on full display there. This is one of those situations where even if, say, someone sincerely felt this way, they would still understand that, to engage in social graces and have the tact or the restraint, not to act this way, but they don't. And that's why it's a huge mask off moment, and also why it is further radicalizing to people, because seeing stuff like this is horrifying. Just people who are not totally rabid, insane, hateful people will obviously look at how he was murdered, the fact he was murdered in front of his family, the fact that it just makes events feel less safe now. Like, it's not even left, right, whatever. It beyond that, the fact that you could just be at a rally, because there were liberals at a rally. There's like an interview of the guy who's asking him his question. Asked Charlie Kirk the last question that Charlie Kirk was answering, and he seems horrified by it. It just, they can't even see that this is an attack on the social fabric of the country that should not be justified. They just are completely so focused on their hatred of the right that they can't see the ripple effect that this is having. So they can't resist the opportunity to gloat. And a consequence of this has been, as I mentioned earlier, tons of these liberals getting fired. And people are sort of, they're a small minority on the right, but then now on the left, some people were like on the right, like, we shouldn't be engaging in cancel culture. And then, of course, there are people on the left who are saying, I thought the right was against cancel culture, but now they're totally engaging in it. And it's like, dude, like the rules have changed. It's not that country anymore, bro. Like, this is a different rodeo. We are not in Kansas anymore, Toto. Liberals will literally not learn until they face consequences. That is what a large portion of America needed to see. They're not going to stop. They're not normal. They're not like, well-meaning but misdirected anymore. Like, most of them are pretty vicious. More than a lot of people are or were comfortable realizing. As I said earlier, you can't have dialogue with people who participate in doublethink like this, in sort of mental flip-flopping between two contradictory narratives. And that's why there's like a weird cosmic resonance with what Charlie Kirk's death represents. He was literally like an avatar of this value of discourse in Western liberal democracies. The democracy being in part a deliberative process, and they shot him. Also, very importantly, these are people celebrating the deaths of their political opposition. They're not all nobodies. Some are teachers, some are healthcare professionals, some are social workers. One guy, I think, worked for the VA. They have responsibilities and are in positions of authority. It's not like they're all just a bunch of schmucks who put fries in a bag for a living. You know, no disrespect if that's where you're at right now, but you get what I'm saying. You know, it's actually very irresponsible to allow a lot of these people to continue to be in the positions that they're in because they've made it clear basically that they're okay with harming others. This is not a high trust society anymore. We can't conduct politics as though it's still a high trust society. Like, you know how they had to start putting glass in front of products in stores like Walmart? Now, whoever is going to do prove me wrong after Charlie, if anyone even does step up, is going to be doing it behind bulletproof glass as well, because that is just the level that this culture has sunk to. You know, politics is in part a social game with rules, and once one side reveals they're not going to be following multiple rules, your side has to reassess its tactics. Anyway, that's it for this video. There will obviously be more to come very soon. I hope you enjoyed it, and Red Channels will catch you in the next one.
And the person might be small.